Guys get a good look at him. He definitely is very young, but he is so successful so far. 9-4 in Pro League and 5-2 up against Protoss so far. He is tied with TY, one of the most winning players we have, or the most winning player we do have here in Pro League so far for this season, and I expect him to keep on with that streak.
Yeah, he's just a great player defensively against Blinkstalker all-ins in the mid-game. His tempo play, his pushes, especially what we've seen from him in Codes, seem to be unstoppable. He's added Widow Mines. He's definitely taken the patch to the next level. And YongHwa, he's had a pretty rough season so far. He's 2-5. He did have a rough time in Codes as usual in the round of 32. But he hasn't dropped a map yet against Terran in this league. He's 2-0.
That's very interesting to see. I mean, those two wins definitely came earlier on in these rounds, but he's doing pretty good against Terran here in Pro League. Can he keep that streak up and running? It's going to be hard to say. He's up against one of the best Terrans we have.
Yeah, looks like he's very pensive going into this match. And again, a shot of all of our JINAIR stewardesses who've come down to represent their team here.
Stewards there also.
Yes.
They're watching.
Are they stewards or are they attendants if you're a man? I'm not even sure.
I'm not sure.
Well, somebody will tweet at us and tell us the answer to that. Frost is our 4-player map, a map where Maru's already shown great success with his tempo build. Let's find out who's going to take the lead. Will it be JINAIR or will it be Incredible Miracle? This is the 2014 SPL Wolf and Breck.
Down here in the bottom left, in the green for JINAIR Green Wings, the Terran player, he is Maru.
Hasn't been a long time since we've seen him. Green commentator says it's true. YongHwa is his opponent, of course, to the bottom right in the blue for IM. Maru did not play in JINAIR's previous 2 matches because they took the match 3-0. Both times they were planning on him coming out 4th, and since they didn't go the 4th match, it didn't matter.
Yep, that says the Marine King, the Marine Prince, rather, as you guys could see, but also says Terran's last hope.
Yes, Terran's last hope. And the last Terran in the round of 8, the GSL. And in Maru versus YongHwa and Wings of Liberty, the results tie at 3-3. So, had some back and forths. I feel like Maru really came into his own in Heart of the Swarm. In Wings of Liberty, he was a great micro player. Definitely one of the better Terrans that we had, but not the best. But he's changed that, obviously, quite a bit. More JINAIR Green Wings. Cheerfuls here. More pro gamer shots.
Yeah. It's always nice to see when, especially, we talked about this a little bit before, JINAIR Green Wings just supporting esports so much, even showing their support here on Cure's 2nd anniversary. If you guys missed it earlier on, it is his 2nd anniversary since he's debuted here for esports for StarCraft 2. So we got some snacks. All the JINAIR girls came down. They're cheering him on.
Well, Maru is, of course, one of our golden players, also our Grandmaster player, as he's currently tied for 1st. So keep that in mind. That's why he's golden up there. Interesting 2nd pylon placement. This is, of course, designed to throw off Maru. Maru's going to come in here with his Reaper, and then he's going to see that there's no 3rd pylon in the main base, so he's going to get a little bit worried about that and probably assume that there's a proxy somewhere on the map if he doesn't get lucky enough to see it in natural. And based off the way that they spawn, I don't think there's any reason why he would see that pylon, so he's probably going to freak out a little bit by this.
Yeah, he's going to jump up on that ledge, if you guys think about it, towards the left of the base. Just go and get a good look and not see the pylon. That's the main thing the Reaper goes in to see. He wants to see those pylons, make sure he has a good idea of where YongHwa could place his buildings. This SCV, on the other hand, if it does go to the right, could spot it, but no, it's just going to go straight into the base. In the meantime, Maru throwing down that CC, very good for this map.
Ooh, will he see it? I think it's just too far to the right there. And now he's going back in the main base after he sees the Nexus, so he's like, okay, so it's not any sort of 1-base hidden tech. Going to come in here with the SCV. Sees 1 pylon here. And that's all he sees. So he's getting a little bit concerned, as he's expecting to see 2 right now.
And now he's going to come in with the faster Reaper. It's actually going to force a photon overcharge over here. Or no, that was the Mothership Core, I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I don't even know how it's possible. But
don't feel bad, Brennan. There's a lot of complicated names in Heart of the Swarm for Protoss. Prismatic Alignment, Photon Overcharge, Time Warp. Well, I guess that's pretty simple.
Yeah. We got that one down pat. Like, we've never gotten that
Mothership
one wrong.
Core is also a long name.
Yeah.
People were calling it the Mama Core, Mama Ship earlier.
The Mom Core?
Baby Mom Core.
That one's like even longer than Mothership Core. Baby Mom Core.
If there was no Protoss programmer called MC, I think it might end up being called the MC, but unfortunately there's a boss toss for that, so. Well, now he sees a pro over there, so he's like, okay, that's weird.
He's like, whoa, 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 bunker. And he throws down that bunker. I'm not sure if he ever got a look on that pylon, actually.
Pretty sure he didn't see it, and it's actually just like...
It's got to be gnawing at his mind, like, what's going on here?
Now he's going to go back and check.
Yeah, he's going to see the front, he's going to see this, he's going to want to come all the way behind, and now he sees it. He sees the Forge, as well as the Robo coming down as well. These two Stalkers going to give chase. Are they going to be able to take him down? Yes, they are.
This is good for Maru, because if he didn't see that, he would have been on the defensive unnecessarily against somebody who's going for a very safe and late-game oriented play. It's not even a greedy eco play or a super safe build in that it's safe against attacks. It's somewhat greedy, but very late-game focused. So Maru now has to be thinking to himself, why don't I just go out here and pressure, or at least consider pressuring, because he's going to have nothing to defend. He's only got one gateway, a robotics, and he's got a forge, which he's not going to be spending cannons making any units on. Ooh, nice position here, doing some damage to those shields.
Yeah, was waiting at the top of the ramp, is actually getting concussive shells here and throwing in a couple of these Marauders. Could possibly go for that, try to catch some of those Stalkers out on the map, possibly even Zealots. Cut down on the army of YongHwa before he goes for a timing push.
Yep, there goes the eBay down here in the south of the base. Going to give him a fast +1 with this. Also will deter any sort of cloaking units or Stargate units that would come in very late.
Yeah.
Although he's probably not even going to make turrets in his main base because of the build that he scouted. It would be crazy if he had a Robo and a Forge researching and a Stargate.
That would just be insane. But he is, in the meantime, actually getting the Robo Bait and the Twilight Council at the same time. So throwing a ton of gas into this tech right now is
He
YongHwa.
has 2 Stalkers and a Sentry. And Maru's just poking up here to find out if that's true. Does get the Observer, that's very annoying, and is actually just going to target down some of these probes. Might even get into the main base. The Sentry wants to say no to that. That force field actually means that he definitely can. That was a huge mistake, I feel. YongHwa is going to take some damage as a result. 5 Marines on the main base here. Will kill the Sentry as well. And maybe get a Stalker?
They're going to try to make her own. No, he's going to try to go for one more probe here. Is he going to get it? Nope. But he, as it stands, has done a lot of damage already. Forces the Photon Overcharge, throws in all those units, but it was worth it. Has his third base up on the way, is getting that starport up as well. Going to try to start getting those medevacs as soon as possible. He has +1 right now, and Stim on the way as well. Maru's in a good position.
If he didn't get the Observer, and if he had a third base that was making in a safe location instead of actually at the third base, I would have said that was a bad trade for him and things weren't good for him. Well, that pressure keeps YongHwa on his toes while Maru gets a third base up, and he's researching Stim, and he's getting medevacs out and the +1, so he's doing a lot himself back at home. And with these spawns close horizontally, his third base is a little bit exposed to Protoss pressure, but YongHwa, because he's on the defensive and because he lost his Sentry, lost some of those units there, can't really counterattack right now. So definitely a better trade for Maru, I would say, who's actually ahead in workers right now, which is never what you want to be as a Protoss because the mules will give you a huge boost in income.
Yeah, even, stopping the mining time a little bit at the natural as well, definitely good for him. In the meantime, you look at YongHwa's army, and he's just trying to pump out those Colossi, but besides that, he doesn't really have much on the ground, whereas you look at Maru, he's getting a bunch of these barracks up, he's starting to power up, get more of these units up here. Is he actually going to get a probe here? He does, with 1 Marine.
Nicely done. Also sees the double Colossus here. So what's the plan here for Maru? Is he going to go Widowmine Marauder, keep attacking the third base, at this high ground location especially? Or is he going to stick into a more traditional Wings of Liberty-esque composition? First, he's just going to lift up some Marauders and head towards the main base. Already, though, with that Observer to spot, there's a defense setup. 1 Marine stims to the natural to check that. There's also the Factory here to spot. With the Factory being here, obviously we're not going to see that same Widowmine style because he would need it landed at home, producing Widowmines. He's trying to get into his head a little bit here as the rest of the units go into the natural. Now he's going to try to target down the Colossus, and he will get it! Will he get the second one? Not quite yet, but well done there by Maru.
Wow, what an incredible little trick he did there. And now he's even fighting those Blink Stalkers on the ground with a bunch of his Marauders. Now he wants to continue doing more damage at the front. Is going to eventually back away, but essentially gets one of these Colossus for free.
Maru's one of those players who never ceases to amaze me. Like, he is the reason why I think StarCraft, I mean, players like him, well, the fact that we always have more and more players like him emerging and improving are the reason why StarCraft 2 is my favorite game, right? I look at this type of play and I'm like, he takes a little bit, he's scouted, and he just makes these tiny tweaks to his play in order to actually still do damage, in order to pick that Colossus off, in order to try to fight those Stalkers on the low ground and force them to blink. That's the type of thing that I like to see. Even using the medevac here is a bit of a distraction. Don't think he's going to get the Colossus. Does barely get it, though. And I don't know if it was worth it, because now he's going to lose some medevacs here.
Yeah, it's hard to say. He does lose one medevac, but he is able to get one of the Colossus. He definitely wants to keep that number low. He's continuing to get the upgrades here, getting double upgrades, but, you know, YongHwa is actually ahead in upgrades here.
Yeah, I feel like his idea here is to make the Korean commentators giggle as that happened, but also to keep the Colossus count low so he can keep making medevacs instead of Vikings. This is actually going to finish. I don't think it's going to do it. It's not going to change the game, but it's another thing that he has to worry about right now. These Stalkers are ready! One medevac goes down. That Marauder somehow miraculously avoids death. But here we go. How much damage is going to get done? That's a lot of probes stacked up right now. Whoa! 9 kills on that Widow Mine.
That is unbelievable that that factory was able to land behind the mineral line, make a Widow Mine, and then have it fire on those probes. The YongHwa should have noticed that coming, but unfortunately not able to notice that. Getting 9 kills is Maru with that.
He just didn't take it seriously because he was so concerned about the ground army of Maru and the drop play. I mean, yeah, he shut down a drop even, but 9 probes killed. Did he clear up the Widow Mine at least? Yes, he did.
It's like, fortunately, should have at least been able to do that.
Look at the worker count. He's up now 16 harvesters, 17 harvesters, and he's probably going to stop here at 71. If he keeps making more SCVs, he's going to have too many SCVs, and his army supply is going to suffer as a result. The composition is still better for YongHwa, arguably with very little Vikings on the map, and he also has the better upgrades, 2-1 versus just the 1-1. And Maru has picked off so many observers this game that Marine is even barely going to escape. So it's about to be, right now, 2-2 upgrades with +3 on the way against 2-1 for Maru. So better upgrades for YongHwa, but a much larger army in general here for, or better upgrades for YongHwa, but a much larger army in general for Maru. Sorry, I got those two player names mixed up there for a second.
Yeah. Maru right now, he's just keeping his army out in the middle of the map. He's focusing, he's powering up on these 3 bases rather. He's trying to pump out a bunch of these Vikings and medevacs to deal with these Colossus.
Yeah, and he's preparing Ghost for the eventual Psionic Storm transition.
Yeah. Seems like he wants to come forward here, poke up. He's actually building a turret here as well.
Yeah, he's actually leapfrogging turrets across the map so that he doesn't have to keep scanning. Really cool choice.
Maru is just on top of his game here today, just even down to the smallest of details.
More medevacs coming out here, and his composition is still pretty solid. He's got mostly Marauders here, and he's making that even more so the case slowly over time. Vikings going to pick off the Mothership Core, not quite. One more shot would have done it, 17 hit points left.
Even coming in there and sniping down a pylon. This is what Maru's been doing all game long. He almost got that Mothership Core, was so close. And knowing Maru's micro, he's going to be able to get it, and he's going to probably want to come in here. He's shown us this before against Colossus, just splitting his army so well. And going in, here comes the attack. There's no Mothership Core. Micro's back for the charging Zealots, and now he's going to want to fight the Vikings coming back as well.
Yeah, you know, he could have actually had his Vikings firing that entire time, but he was a bit concerned about that. Trades some bio here, but remaxes with more Marauders, more Vikings on the way, and he's trading pretty evenly with the Protoss army. Well, he's still on 3 base. He has the better worker economy. Not for much longer, but he still has it. And that means more money spent on probes to catch up, which is another reason why this Protoss army is a little bit smaller. The upgrades, though, for the Protoss still ahead at 2-2 to 2-1 right now for Maru. He's getting the +3 attack. But the upgrades are taking their toll on him here. And as soon as Psystorm is ready and he starts switching into that, that's going to be another problem for him. Does have a few ghosts on the map. Needs to make sure he does not lose those because it's very expensive to replace them. He's low on gas right now. And looky here, 4 Zealots going to come in. No bunker, no defense setup. And he's going to engage. The Stalkers blink in. EMPs go down as well. Maru takes out those Colossi. 1 down. 2 down, and 3 go down, but his Bioforce isn't enough on the ground. There's so many charged Zealots with better upgrades. He targets the Colossus, but he's losing so much here, Brendan. I don't like his position anymore.
I don't like it either. He was not able to get the Colossus. So many of these medevacs going down as well. Just way too many of these Zealots, and also doing a bunch of damage to the mineral line as it comes. And now with this big push, YongHwa seems like he may have wanted to come in here. He's going to build a pylon up here as well. He wants to fortify this army, and he wants to go for an attack here.
That group of 3 Vikings wants blood. They're going to try to get that Colossus, not before he gets a shot off. +3 armor is done, and here comes YongHwa. He's facing a mostly Marauder army here. Stalkers at the back to do extra damage to them, but good kiting here by Maru, even eliminating that bunker or the barracks after it's done its job to block the Zealots. He needs any minerals he can get right now, and canceling that barracks is not a bad choice. Meanwhile, back at home, Templar Archives is on the way. He's switching into that. He's got a ton of gas bank right now, so he doesn't even need these assimilators mining right now that the Observer highlights are missing, because he can afford Archons, he can afford Templar off of the gas he already has.
Nice pick off there by YongHwa, just getting any of these units that he possibly can. These probes actually long distance mining. I don't know what the story is there. I guess he just doesn't have the minerals in the main there. Wants to get some minerals here and possibly make a nexus there as it goes. Maru, at the meantime, is picking down a 4th base.
Yeah, even making it into a planetary, knowing that he has enough mules and his economy and SCVs is not terrible. He hasn't lost too many harvesters, so he doesn't really need any additional orbitals. And having that base over there is very difficult for the Protoss to assault, except with Zealot run-bys, where the planetary comes into play. But this is a very, very strong Protoss army. Way better upgrades for him for now. And, I mean, the barracks here helping out a little bit as a wall for Maru. He's about to have +3, and his Vikings will have +2 as well. Finally, the 3rd base, the 3rd expansion, the 4th base in total for YongHwa does get dropped down here. I like his choice of long distance mine because he's kept Maru so much on the defensive that his probes are not really exposed here.
Yeah, they're not going to be in any trouble here, and he's had them mining for a little bit. He finally gets enough to put down that nexus while his army is totally on the other side, Maru's that is. He's going to blink forward and pick off a bunch of these units here. In a very good position is the Protoss army here.
Yeah, I wonder if he has some force fields to drop on that ramp. If he does, he could actually force field it off and then start attacking the natural. He's being a little bit more cautious here, wants that forward warp in point so he can warp in probably more Stalkers for the extra range damage. So what he chooses here. Could get a few more Templar. Looks like that's his choice to make one more Archon. Another Templar going in the fight. Actually, that's a Zealot. Oops. Yep. Wolf dropped the ball.
And right now, Maru with the 4 Vikings at a time production right now. He wants to make sure he has enough for the Colossi first, and then he'll deal with what's on the ground later. Even getting 3 ghosts at the same time as well.
Here we go. Position here, the army supply is bigger for the Protoss. Okay, that's step 1. Good EMP here. And step 2 is the cost of this army is so much higher. You know how many Templar he has in there? All those Archons, the Zealots, plus the Colossi. Wow.
It's a lot.
That's an expensive army.
Huge amount.
That tech advantage is huge. Where are the Vikings? I'm not seeing them. Okay, there they are. Finally coming in to join the fight. Good position on this Terran army behind the barracks. But just cautious, careful poking here by YongHwa.
Able to blink forward, pick off 1 Viking, trading for 1 Blink Stalker. He's continuing to do really nice micro. YongHwa, he's continuing to pick off more and more Vikings. The Vikings try to come forward. They pick off 1 Colossus. Now they're going to get a 2nd one.
Yep. Good micro here by Maru. He's trying to turn the tides here. He's got a lot of EMPs, more ghosts joining the battle. Still down 1 set in upgrades, but he has that Viking upgrade going for him at least.
Yeah. And you know, if you look at the Stalker count for YongHwa right now, it's diminishing pretty quickly. He has so many of these Zealots. And I feel like if Maru can actually force a fight towards the buildings, if he can force and try to fight behind the buildings, he can really mess with the AI on these Zealots. And the Stalkers won't do much damage because there's not a lot of them.
I think we've reached the point where it's time to get Storm. You know, I don't think he's never researched that, if I'm not mistaken. He's just relying on Archons alone. And well, with force fields like these, who needs Size Storms? Good kiting here by Maru, and he's trying to push us back. There's only 1 Colossus. Beautiful EMPs on the Archons as well. But the upgrade advantage, is it too much here? The Vikings now useless. They're dead supply here. And YongHwa a bit timid. I feel like this could be his moment to come in and take the killing blow. Instead, he walks back.
Yeah, we've said this so many times about YongHwa. There are just times where he's too safe, where he won't go for the kill, and this is his moment. He could actually possibly go for it, but he just didn't go for it. He trapped so much of Maru's army there with a small mistake out of Maru, and he just didn't capitalize on it as well as I would have liked him to.
I mean, I think it's either time to get Storm or to get more Stalkers, because Eventually, Maru is kiting these Zealots back, and he's getting good EMPs. He's blanketing the Zealots. This drop over here is going to be pretty effective because there's no cannons, nothing to spot for this. He has no units at home. He can't even really warp in enough units to defend because he has too much supply. 2 Zealots aren't going to cut it. Okay, so he's actually going to do a funny little split attack over here. Probably going to try to force the SCVs off of the repair. I don't really like this, to be honest.
Maru was ready for it. He knew it was coming, and now look at this. Maru with a small drop here in the main is going to pick off this one pylon, which is powering 2 of those gateways.
Yeah, he's going to get the Dark Shrine, maybe. That's pretty expensive. Yeah, I think he's going to get it.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get it. Those Stalkers focusing on the medevac while this goes down, and there goes your Dark Shrine.
YongHwa's falling apart here a little bit. I mean, not to say he's going to lose the game, but he needs to make a better composition. His composition right now, let's talk about it. He's got 5 Archons, no Stalkers that I can see. 1 Stalker maybe? 1 Stalker, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Those Colossi are going to fall instantly. The cloak on those Ghosts allows him to EMP every single Archon. Is the splitting it up? Is the Bio Army large enough? That is the question here. The Vikings trying to take out that last Colossus, and YongHwa is in a big amount of trouble right now. The last Colossus falls. His composition is too lopsided. Maru counters him here, and now Cloak Ghosts do bonus damage to light units. Goodbye, Zealots. Those last Stalkers we talked about, they are dead. Maru with the comeback will take out this Nexus. He's 60 supply up, and he will bring JINAIR into the lead here. No question about it. Goodbye, third base. Goodbye, probes. I'm so sorry, YongHwa. It was time a long time ago to transition out of this composition. Maru is kiting him to death as he's done all throughout the beginning of this late game. And I think that's it, Brendan.
That's going to be it. This is it for YongHwa. Like you said, the composition just too long on it. He's going to be able to hold it back for now, but the reinforcements coming in here is just going to be too much. Very, very nice of the Maru, bringing in those Cloak Ghosts. And YongHwa's got to be feeling terribly. He had it in his grasp. He had the game, and he just didn't go for it.
So many pro gamers in Korea and casters alike criticize YongHwa for skipping Storm Tech way too often. GG, you know, sticking to the composition with only Colossi. He had 37 Zealots. 37 Zealots, 5 Stalkers, 2 Colossi, and like 5 Archons. No answer for the Ghosts. Ghosts come in and blanket the Archons. No Storms. And all you have to do is kite the Zealots at that point.
And that was it. And he had so many Cloak Ghosts, even though they were kind of seen towards the end with an Observer that came in, they were doing so much damage even with their guns, with the bonus damage to light, with the Zealots.
Ghosts have a lot of hit points, and if you can't kill them with Colossi or put them underneath Storms, they're actually going to fight pretty well against your Zealots.
They're expensive units, and if you can get a blanket Storm on them, you can actually do a lot of damage. But like we said, no Storms. I feel like I just feel like YongHwa fell apart.
YongHwa is known for this. You know, he plays very safely, oftentimes too safely, and relies on Colossi and siege tactics rather than actually coming in with blunt force. The most blunt force thing we ever saw him do was try to attack a planetary with Zealots and Sentries. And we saw how poorly that went.
Yeah.
You know, YongHwa, one of our Toast's favorite players from the beginning of time because of his style, because of how